Hi, welcome everyone. I'm Priscilla, and today we are sitting down with the director and cast of The Forgotten Man. And The Forgotten Man is a short, intense production that was selected to be part of a worldwide Halloween theater event called Whispers in the Dark. Whispers in the Dark is a virtual spook festival that's going to be showcasing ghost stories performed by theater companies from around the world for free. And viewers will be able to enjoy these plays on the UK Thornhill Theatre Space Facebook page. So go like it and yeah, wait for Halloween. And so, hi everyone, thank you for joining me today.
Hey.
Hello.
Good to be here.
Thanks for having us.
I'm going to go straight to it. So my first question is for Scott. What led you to open pop-up theater?
It was, I've been working here in Malaysia for a while. I work for CPAC, the Cempaka Performing Arts Company, which produce musicals and mainly vocal sort of projects. So I wanted to do some theatres and plays and that, so I just started to do some of my own plays. I always like to do original material because it's something new, something that no one's ever seen. So I'd done that for the first 2 years, and then it was, I think, 2016, I was doing a play called Angry Pajamas. Brian was in it, and we started talking about, because we had done 2 before that, we started talking about making it not a regular thing like, you know, we're going to do, but the idea of doing more plays. And then, of course, we need a banner instead of just going, here's a play and it's, you know, it's done by Scott, but where's it come from? Who's the company? So then we come up, I said, well, I've got this idea of pop-up theatre, because the idea of pop-up theatre is exactly to the words. We just pop up. We're not a scheduled theatre company that has, every December they'll do this play, every July they do their summer play or whatever. There's no schedule. We just do a play, and that keeps us sort of, you know, it keeps it easy for us as well, because all of us kind of do work on other companies within the arts, as well as some of us have day jobs as well. But that keeps it easy, and that's how pop-up theatre company sort of come together. But it's branding and marketing and everything that you now see on its IG page and YouTube is all really thanks to Alex. She come in only last year, and I said, okay, so we're doing this play, and we're going to enter it into the Short and Sweet Festival at Calpac, which we had never done before. And Alex that's her thing. Other than being an actress, she is a production assistant, stage designer. I can't go on, the list is too long, but she does all of this, and she just come in and just kind of took over that part. And before I knew it, she was like, oh, by the way, I put these up and these posters and done this, and yeah, that's what she does. So I was like, all right, sure, you do that. And now pop-up theatre started to grow. She basically runs it. I do all the creative, artistic stuff in terms of shows. I write the shows and the plays, and all these actors here appear in pop-up theatre productions, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's a production we do, so they'll work in other ways. Brian will help with casting. Yeah. So, you know, we're the core to it, but we still have other actors come in and out.
Yeah, and so with Scott McQuaid today, we have Alexandria Tan, we've got Damien, Zachary, Ryan Ting, and Luqman Suhaib. Excellent. Also, Scott, you produced your first audio play this year, which was Sherlock Holmes in Ripper Street. Tell us more about the creative process that goes into producing an audio play. Am I correct in saying that it's a fairly new, theater experience?
I think it is. I wouldn't say it's new. I'd say it's a rediscovered theatre experience.
Right.
Because obviously you know, before all of us were born. If we're going back to World War II, the 40s,
gramophone and all of that.
the gramophone, that's radio theatre was done there. It was done in a theatre with an audience, but recorded. There was no TV, so it was all live theatre. And in England, they still do radio plays. And even in the 80s, when I was growing up, I would be in a car and there would be a long journey, and my mum would put on Radio 5, and there would be either a comedy radio theatre piece or a series. So and I always found it very interesting because you cut off 5 senses. You're only using that one, the hearing sense.
Auditory, yeah.
Yeah, and then and just like a book where you read it and there's a bit of description there, but your imagination does the rest. Well, it's the same for this. You hear, I will imply some sound effects, but then your imagination takes it somewhere else. And I think that's also a credit to the actors and the way they do act. So it come up because of the lockdown. We're all locked down. Couldn't do any live theatre, couldn't do any film projects. So I was like, well, what can I do? And then I thought, well, everybody has a phone. Everybody has a mic on a phone. So we can record lines and we can send them in. So it's quite difficult for the actors, and all of these actors have done it. They've all appeared in one of the Sherlock Holmes audio plays at least. And they have to do their lines, but with nothing coming back. And then they just send me all the material, and then I just have to kind of edit it and put it together. And yeah, that's the interesting part, because I like to play with the sound effects and how can I make this sound like they are in the Wild West, or they are in a tunnel somewhere. And that was the interesting part. And I think because of the lockdown, Ripper Street, the very first one, it got big numbers listening, and the others have built a loyal fan base, certainly from the Sherlock Holmes community. And yeah, it just streamlined from there. We've actually got our very last one coming out probably next month.
Excellent. And for our viewers, all of these audio plays are all available on Pop-Up Theatre's YouTube page. For everyone interested, go on to their IG page, and there's, their Linktree link available over there, and you have all your options available for, if you want to enjoy their audio plays. Next question is for Alex. You've been a part of the main cast for all of Pop-Up Theatre's productions so far, as well as being the company's administrative director. Within the art scene in Malaysia, there is still, theatre, I feel, is still something that's still quite niche, and for ages, I feel like it's only been accessible to people of a certain economic bracket. By making theatre productions available virtually, do you think younger millennials and those who belong to Generation Z would be more open to exploring theatre as a serious vocation in the arts?
Right, that's a good question. Yeah, for sure. I think I feel that definitely more and more people nowadays, especially in the younger generations, seeing theatre as or the arts as something that they can pursue, or something that they can consider as a path, a career path. I've had many people asking us questions on Pop-Up Theatre, or even my own personal messages and stuff. They're curious about what it is we do, if it's sustainable, if that's our main source of income and everything. So I guess it's really important for us as young actors and creatives within Pop-Up Theatre and within the industry itself, like locally, to really set that example that it's possible to do so, and it is an option. Of course, we live in an Asian community, whether we like it or not, there is still stigma and this worry. Of course, it comes out of, love and care, because it is a difficult industry, and wherever you go, whatever country, but especially locally, we have so much more to grow and more to expand. So it is a tough industry, but
we desperately need this. I feel like, especially with my generation, it's still something that, if one of us were like, oh, I want to go, I want to be an actor, I want to be serious. Gosh, most of our families would be like, are you serious? Are you, this is, so I really, really hope the younger generation, pushes back against this and takes a stand and be like, no, you know what? It's time we start taking this seriously, because
Absolutely.
yeah, we definitely need this, especially where, you know, expression is concerned, and you know, it's also great content
Oh, for sure.
for a lot of people trying to explore something different. Thank you. Next one is for Brian. As a local actor, how do you navigate learning and perfecting your craft in a place where freedom of expression is almost always under a trial of some sort?
Wow.
Do you feel this affects you directly as an actor, or is it something that you choose not to let affect you?
I think it's something that I choose not to let affect me so much, because personally, the work that we've been doing here in pop-up theater has always been regarding uh, the character or the story within the context. We've never done any work that's controversial or offensive in any way, so it's really hard for me to comment on that. But in the near future, I don't think it's something that we will embark into. So I don't think it's something I worry about too much.
Okay, great. And next is for Damien. You've just returned this year from film school in Cape Town in South Africa. As a young actor starting out here, what do you personally think of available opportunities in the theatre scene as a whole? Do you feel like it's growing the way it needs to?
There are a lot of good and interesting theatre plays being put on now by independent companies, but because the theater industry doesn't really bring in any income for the country, like you know, for like Broadway and the West End and stuff like that. So it doesn't. Because of that, we don't get any fundings. So there is a reason why it's a bit dodgy. Not to say that there's no opportunity and all that. And I think there's a lot of demand for it also. I mean, you can see that with the last play that we did, Short and Sweet. We did something Short and Sweet, and the whole 2 days, it was sold out. So there is a lot of demand for it. Like, people do want to see it. So yeah, I think there's a lot of room for growth for it, definitely, yeah.
But then that's the thing, you know, there is a demand, but at the same time, you know, funding is not something that is helping. So I feel like it's a bit of a catch-22 in regards to, you know.
I mean, I guess it's supposed to be like that for the beginning. I mean, we just have to be creative in the beginning until we get to a point where it's big enough to start getting income for the country, stuff like that. And then it won't stop. The ball will keep rolling.
I don't know. I personally think that, you know, government-wise, they do need to invest a lot more in the arts anyway. You know, it is a sector that's very, very neglected. And I mean, like, actors can go on, you know, for a long time trying to prove so much, trying to create and everything. But I think at some point, you know, like, the authorities need to kind of step in and be like, yeah, you know what, you're doing so much, and yeah, here's some help. So I guess we're all waiting for that. So hopefully this gets, you know, like, attention.
Yeah, I think as Damien says, though, it's only viable to the country if it starts. If you took away the West End in London and said, like, okay, you know, we're still going to give you the money, but yeah, it's not going to be. See how quickly theatre will deplete there, because it's only because it's bringing in a revenue. You know, you've got to remember why Bollywood has the film industry, why Hollywood has the film industry, and you can see that more recently with how Hong Kong's film industry is just taking a bomb because China, the mega powers, come in and everything shifted over there. There's nothing filmed in Hong Kong. Hong Kong film used to generate a lot of money for the city, for the whole country, sorry, but it doesn't now, so they have to go different routes. So unfortunately, I agree, I think it'd be great if we could get more funding, but until it can sort of be worked into a revenue that benefits both sides, I don't see it happening.
Right. That's a good observation. Next question is for Luqman. You're part of Champaka International School's faculty, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I'm the computer science teacher.
Oh, okay. Is acting something you enjoy doing on the side next to teaching, or are you looking to make a full-time switch?
I don't believe the two are mutually exclusive, acting and teaching.
Mm-hmm.
To me, every lesson that I teach is to an extent a performance. And I think, and this is something I wish my teachers had taken into consideration, I think it's the actor's biggest responsibility towards an audience, right? And as a teacher, I have my maximum responsibility is always towards my students. And I have acted for a while before, but nothing big. But once I got into this career, I thought I would, just stay teacher because, to be honest, teaching is the dream job for me. But if it wasn't for my students, I may not have gone for that first Sherlock audition that got me this far with pop-up theater, for example. So because of that, there's no chance of me switching for the simple reason that, to me, they're the same thing. They're so well connected that I don't feel too much of a disconnect between teaching and acting. So there is knowledge in the background that's required and everything, but to an extent, what I want to be is, I want to be that teacher who sets an example to my students as, you don't have to be tied down by one thing you're passionate about. And, when I have time to do something, I can commit to it. If not, so as much as possible, it's about balancing my life out. And I want my students to see that. I want everybody to see that. And more than anything, there's a lesson for teachers there as well. Always listen to your students.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. What would you say, or what would you advise others who might share in your passion for acting and are looking to venture into acting full time?
I'm not sure I'm the best person to ask because I have no plans of going into acting full time. But I think it's very important for them to think about, I think a lot of us do this as well, especially because acting doesn't have the gravitas that it should yet.
Yeah.
That we should consider venturing into it carefully for the simple reason that acting is not one of those fields where there are guarantees. So it depends on so many other external and internal variables as well. Will you be cast? Will the company, succeed, and so on. And these are things we have to be optimistic, but cautiously optimistic about. So I think they have to really hone their skill set first, and they really have to go for the parts that work for them and the parts that they would actually enjoy. And for example, there are no personal barriers, that stop them from committing really well into the art. And I think, of course, it helps a lot if you can find, a crew, cast, and director you can work with very well, in which case, of course, maximum blessing right here.
Great. So this is open to the floor. Please tell us a little bit more about The Forgotten Man and how long did it take to put the whole production together and what can we expect from it?
Okay. Actually, we were making Sherlock. We have a Sherlock Holmes stage play that we were doing for CPAC, but obviously with all the lockdown and that's probably going to go virtual now. But we were doing rehearsals for that. Then we were doing rehearsals for the short and sweet. So we're doing 2 shows at once.
Wow.
And then this opportunity come along to do this be part of this Whispers in the Dark Halloween virtual theatre event. And I just said to the guys, which is, I just said, I know we got a lot on, but it's a virtual theatre piece and it's worldwide and it'd be quite good if we could get in, if we selected. So, how about it? And then these guys were just like, yeah, bring it on. So I wrote the piece. And I didn't really think, normally when I write something, it's the inspiration comes from something you see, something you read, but it was just through being this opportunity coming up, and I thought, well, it has to be Halloween themed, and it has to be a little bit scary and serious, and then I just come up with this idea. Actually, I come up with a few ideas, and then singled it down to this one, and it didn't actually take long to write. It just flowed because I think a necessity of. I think also, when you have a short period, I had a very short window. The submission period of the script for the festival to see if they accept it. that's just a necessity to, you know, to do it. And then, yeah, I think I wrote in about 2 days, and then, yeah, then I sent it off to the Whispers in the Dark festival, and they accepted it. So, yeah, and then we just started rehearsing. We didn't do many rehearsals for it because it was going to be virtual. So I said, it's not like we can do it all. It's like when you see a play, it's live, it's all done as well. When it's virtual, you have to kind of think a little bit for your TV viewers. So you have to think, well, we better cut to a close up. We better cut. How are they going to get the geographical sense of where everybody is positioned? So you better film it here. You better. So, you know, I tried to make it limited camera angles because I didn't want it to turn into a movie. But at the same point, if we just have this one shot like we have here, and that's for like an hour show, you will start to get bored very quick because it's not like theatre. So although it is only an 8-minute piece, you still want to, you know, grip them and keep them on the edge of their seat, because that's what the nature of this piece is. It's a scary piece. So they done a couple of rehearsals, but it was really mashed in. I think, you know, now when we look at it, it's like, what the hell were we doing? Because we were doing 3 shows at once. So these guys really, it's really, you know, props to them, because they just bounced. And it's not even like the characters or the shows, they're so far different from each other. But I think we've always worked in this manic sense of like, okay, you've got 2 weeks to put it together. And I think that's the very nature of pop-up theatre anyways. Right. Like I said, we're going to do something, guys. We've got 2 months. Let's do it. Pop up, bam, done, gone. And that's kind of what we do. So
very impressive. Also, do tell us more about Whispers in the Dark, and how did pop-up theatre get involved with this worldwide event?
So the Whispers in the Dark festival is a Halloween festival created by Ryan Thornhill, and he's an American director producer. And when the lockdown happened, I was doing Sherlock. He started to come up with this idea of the Thornhill theatre space, which is where he would invite people like this on Zoom to do monologues, just do theatre, just to, you know, sort of embrace theatre, keep it going, because everybody had a production closed down somewhere in the world. And so he sort of, he orchestrated that, and he done that, I think it was sometime in July, and it was just there was no theme. It was just anybody who wanted to submit, as long as the material was good and everything, he would do it. And that was his first try at it. And I saw that, and I saw what he was doing, and I thought it was pretty cool. So when it comes to the Halloween edition, he's doing the same thing again. Everybody submits things around the world. I got involved in it because I thought it was a very good thing. And and Ryan loved the work, and he was happy to have us on board. Actually, he's really excited about it.
And it's really nice to see, you know, everyone within the theatre space kind of supporting each other with initiatives like this, you know, to keep things going despite everything that's been going on this year. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And thank you so much for joining me today.
It's all right.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having us.
It was great.
Thank you.
For everyone listening in, so The Forgotten Man will be premiering October 31st, 8 p.m. local time. Go on to the Thornhill Theatre Space, UK Thornhill Theatre Space on Facebook to watch what the selected plays. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And good luck.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.